Our tip for today is only applicable to those of you who catch a lot of fish. If you don't catch a lot of fish, don't worry about it. Good morning, guys and girls. May 23. We're going to be looking at Galatians 6:2. By helping each other with your troubles, you'll truly obey the law of Christ. By helping each other with your troubles. Old blue heron. See that blue heron there? Isn't that something? Two of them. Oh no, something. We got some other birds in there, some ducks. My word. I thought somebody was getting killed down there or something. Scared me to death. All right, let's start this thing all over again, will you? By helping each other with your troubles, you truly obey the law of Christ. So when you help somebody else with whatever troubles they may have, you're truly obeying the law of Christ. Fishermen are both the best and the worst when it comes to helping. The same guy who'll stop and tow in a total stranger with motor problems will lie to his very best friend about where and how he's catching his fish and what kind of bait he's catching them on. Now, what's wrong with that picture? Well, it's all about agendas. We know we need to reach out and help each other, but we're only willing to serve if it doesn't affect our agendas or our success. Our friend is a threat to our own fishing success. He might beat us in a tournament. The stranger is not. The agenda of Jesus was not only to help, but to solve the troubles of others. Jesus puts the problem of others above his own. That's why he died on that cross. He put the sins of others above himself, and he never even committed any sins. Helping one another is a form of obedience to God, and he really knows how to bless us when we are obedient to him. To receive blessings from God, we get them a lot of times. We don't even have any way at all to deserve them. But when we're obedient to God, that's the time he's going to bless us a lot. Do we deserve those blessings when we're obedient to him? I don't know. But I guarantee you one thing, when we're obedient to God, he's going to no matter what, even if it does threaten our own agenda, God's going to bless us for that. And we'll probably come out in the long run way ahead in doing that. Here's our tip for today. This is what I had to laugh a little bit about when I looked down and saw what the tip was, because not everybody will say, Jimmy, you're not talking to me when you're talking about that. When cleaning a lot of crappie or a lot of white bass, set the trigger to constant on your fillet knife. Set the trigger to constant. If you don't have a fillet knife, it's got a trigger that you can just lock in and leave it running all the time. Take some black tape. My dad used to do that all the time because my dad caught literally thousands of crappie. He crappie guided a lot. He bass guided a lot also, but he crappie guided. When he did, he was filleting crappie all the time. And he would go through fillet knives, and every time that a fillet knife would break, it would be the switch that would break on it. So what Dad would do, he would just take some black tape, and he would tape that trigger on, because it didn't have a constant on it. You just had to hold the trigger down or not. So he would tape it on. So if your fillet knife doesn't have a constant setting on it, you can take a black tape and just tape it where it's on. So when you plug it in, it's running. Now, it's a little dangerous that way. You got to be careful, because when it's plug it in, you might want to make sure the blades are going to start cutting. So make sure it's laying, or you're not got it holding it where it might cut you, because a fillet knife will do some damage to your hand. That's experience talking right there. Been there, done that. So you don't want those blades touching you when they're running. But if you'll tape that down, because what goes wrong on a fillet knife more often than not is that switch goes out. And it just starts not running properly, and finally will eventually end up quit. So if you'll tape it on the on position, and if you're filleting a lot of crappie, you know, here in some of the lakes in Oklahoma, we have a limit of 37. So if two people are going, that's 74 crappie. 3 people, that's 111 crappie. I just did that real quick, so I'm not sure I'm right. But that's 111 crappie. 3 people, 37 each. On Lake Tenkiller, where I've got a house and where I live for the majority of my lifetime, the limit is not 37. I think it's only 15. So, you know, but even yet, 3 people, you're talking about cleaning 45 crappie, and it's a lot of crappie. White bass in a lot of states, most states as a matter of fact, there's no limit on white bass. So you can just catch as many as you want. And when you really get into them, you can really, really catch a lot. Obviously, a fillet knife's the best way to do it. And if you'll tape that trigger on, you'll have a lot less problems with your fillet knife, and they'll last you a lot more fish. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one today. I love you.